What's going on, world? And welcome to Clearing the Wreckage Podcast. It's the voice and your host, Kareem A. Rashid. And once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be getting on the toilets, or you could be getting off the toilets. Hell, for all I know, you could be wiping your tushy. But I know that I'm ready, and so I hope that you're ready to clear the wreckage. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. What's going on, my peeps, my fellow Wreckage Clearers? What's up with you today? I just came from the gym, getting a good workout in. I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. I'm always filled with joy when I get a chance to meet with you. I'm filled with joy. I'm filled with gratitude. I'm filled with inner peace and calmness. Because I have come to life, my friends, and I am able to give that to myself before I can give that to anybody else. Today's episode conversation will be about coming to life. We talked last week about spiritual awakening. We're going to talk again about it a little bit more because I want to emphasize that I have come to life. I want to also emphasize what the difference is between a spiritually dead person and a spiritually awakened person. And with that emphasis, I want to give you an example. When I was, I won't say younger, but I was. But back in the day, before all of this, before I learned about taking the time to look inside to clear the wreckage, before I had a spiritual awakening, I developed a heist. I developed tactics. I developed ways to get what I wanted. And I did that in numerous ways. I was very manipulative to women. I was very manipulative to my mother. I was very manipulative to my friends. But whatever you had, I was there for the taking. Now I thought, man, I'm a generous person. I'm such a giving person. I give to my friends so much. You know, I used to think that a lot. You know, I have such a big heart. But really, truthfully, not that I didn't, not that I don't on the inside, because I do, but that part of me, folks, was dead. That part of me, that spirit, was dead. It had died a long time ago because I suppressed it with doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And that, my friends, is the definition of insanity. So if you're doing the same thing over and over again, maybe expecting a different result, or just doing the same thing because you just don't have a purpose in life, then maybe, just maybe, you are spiritually dead, and maybe it is time for you to come to life. My encouragement and my hopes is that when you are with me in conversation every single week, not just when you get home, but when you are with me present in conversation every single week, you are taking the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear as we are talking. You are examining yourself as we are talking. But I will tell you this, man, I was walking dead. Great title of a show, right? I don't know if you're familiar with that show, if you watched that show at all. I barely watched the show. And the reason I didn't really watch the show is because I knew, well, I'm walking dead. I don't need to watch this. I lived that life. I'm a freaking zombie. I'm a zombie. Why do I need to watch people on the screen being like me? I don't need to watch that because that's just gonna make me sad. That's just gonna get me depressed. And that's just gonna make me want to act out and be a zombie even more. I don't know if that made any sense, but here's what I'm trying to say. When someone used to tell me the truth about myself, I used to ignore it. So many people have told me the truth about myself, man. Hey, Kareem, man, you may need to chill, bro. You may have a problem. You may need to get some help. Hey, man, have you not had enough to drink, man? Hey, man, Kareem, wake up, wake up, wake up. Oh, what happened, man? You passed out, dude. You blacked out. What the heck? Oh, man. You know, my own sibling telling me I better never have to do this again. Getting dropped off home, I'll never forget it. And the only part I remember, this is a story I'm telling you, by the way, and I know I segued into it very quickly. The only part I remember about this is my sibling telling me, I better not ever have to do this again. And what this sibling was saying was, they better not have to ever bathe me again. Apparently, I passed out in my own puke. Apparently, somebody took me home. Apparently, my brother unclothed me, put me into the bathtub, and had to get me clean. And had to pick me up, take me to the bed, and, and take care of me. I was a grown adult at the time. My friends, that is someone who is spiritually dead. And I want you to examine yourself during this conversation, please. If something like that has ever happened in your life, or is happening now, you may need to examine yourself. I was walking dead. Now, you know the story, though. You know the whole story. I mean, and remember, like I said last week, every single thing in my life had to happen in order for me to come to life. In order for me to become spiritually awakened, I had to go through every single thing that I went through. We already had this conversation. You have to go through it in order to get to it. Yes. You're going to have to go through some things in order to become awaken. In order to come to life, you're going to have to experience death. It is a part of life. We can talk about nature. We can talk about all those things that experience death. And then they come back to life. They have to experience death. I mean, just think about the plants. Think about the flowers. Think about the trees. Every single year, every single season, they blossom in the spring. They grow. They have a growth spurt. Their leaves are green. They're bright. They're beautiful. They're flourishing. And then that season comes when they have to die. They have to die. They have to. It is part of the cycle of life. So, my friend, you have to die in order to come to life. But I can tell you this, I had no purpose. I walked around aimlessly. I walked around thinking that the whole world was against me. I walked around thinking that, oh man, I will always fail. I will always be like this. You guys already know this stuff. We talked about this. But that was my thought process. That is how I thought about myself, very lowly. Oh, I'll never accomplish anything good. Oh, man, I'll keep losing in life. I'll keep losing these apartments. I'll just keep depending on mom to help me. I can't even be a grown adult male species who's supposed to take care of himself by now. I continue to do all these things. I continue to wake up in the morning, grab my bottle because I'm in pain, I'm irritated, I'm emotional, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm all these things. And all I know is that the bottle will relieve that. The bottle will give me some type of escape. And then once I start drinking from the bottle, oh man, it's time to go smoke something. Oh man, it's time to do some more drugs. Oh man, you know what? Now it's time to find some girl and get that pleasure as well. That is the life that I lived, my friends. That was on repeat. I'm emphasizing that to you so that you can know that this was a spiritually dead person. Me, I was spiritually dead. I did the same thing every single day. And it was all about me. I didn't care about anybody else. Now, what if I told you, though? What if I told you? Let me calm down a little bit. Let me calm down. What if I told you? Man, I never wanted to live that way. I never wanted to live that way, y'all. What if I told you it was the last thing that I wanted? I didn't want to hurt people. I didn't want to, mess all these relationships up. The relationship with my mom, with my dad, with my siblings, my friends. What if I told you that I truly desired to do good? There was something in me that was still trying to come to life to do the right thing. But man, I had suppressed it so much, y'all. With death, I suppressed it so much. I continued to do the same things that did not bring life to my spirit. And for the most part, most of us on earth, we want to do what is right. But in all my being, y'all, I could not produce any good fruit. Let's talk about the trees, shall we? It's not that I was a bad seed. No, not at all. It was that the seed was not rooted on the fertile ground, right? The root needed to be ripped out of the ground and replanted into a solid foundation, into fertile ground, a foundation that is not rocky, a foundation that is not easily broken, a solid foundation. And when I got replanted, I needed to be replanted in a spot where it was just my roots that can grow as long and as far as and as deep as they needed to. I didn't need to be planted by some other trees so that my roots can get entangled with theirs. I hope you are understanding what I'm saying or understanding what I am putting down right now. Okay, because see, I was entangled by all of those other things, all of those material things, those physical things that I thought that I needed. They were entangling my roots. They were infecting the ground. They were causing dis-ease, which is something I struggle with, right? The disease of addiction. Remember, I broke down the word disease for you. It is only dis-ease. It's two words in one. And so that's what was happening with me. So those people, those places, those things, I was entangled. I was entangled in it. Oh, man, I got to make sure that this person is happy. I lived in fear. So all I did all the time was made sure that everyone else was happy. Why did I do that, though? And you will realize this when you come to life. So see, when you come to life, you start to realize things about yourself. You start to notice things. Your awareness becomes heightened. And this is why I did all of that. Because I did not accept myself. That is really the root cause behind it all. I did not accept myself. I did not love myself. So I was looking for the external validation, the external acceptance, the external love from everyone around me. And so I thought, well, if I just do this for them or do that, or if I say this, then I'll be accepted. My friends, that is a spiritually dead person. The spiritually awakened person no longer needs that external validation. No. I no longer need to be placed by these other trees to feel like to feel okay about myself. I don't need the other trees to tell me, oh man, you look good. You look good, Kareem. You're doing great. Hey, that fruit looks okay. I don't need the other trees to tell me that crap. Not anymore. I became spiritually awakened. I come to life. So I had to be planted in a place where I was by myself, deeply rooted into the ground, deeply rooted. We're talking about spirituality here, deeply rooted in the foundation of divinity, of the source, of God, of the omnipotent, deeply rooted into a higher power, so that I can develop the most beautiful, ripest, I don't know if ripest is a word, ripe, the most ripe, sweetest fruit. Right? And so that I can be of service. The tree that produces fruit is of service to the rest of the world. If I'm producing bad fruit, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that, and that is who I was. I was spiritually dead. Nobody wanted to be around me. I sucked the life out of people. I want you to examine yourself right now. If you are sucking the life out of people, then you may be spiritually dead. So to become awakened, here's your first step. To become awakened or to come to life, I first had to be ripped up or broken apart. My roots had to be ripped up out of that ground. No, this is not a good space for you. This is not a good space for you. Nope. Maybe you need to listen to your therapist. Maybe you do need to go to that support group that she suggested. I'm going too fast. My bad, y'all. When I start getting passionate and I start talking fast, I'm sorry about that, y'all. So, my friends, I believe that this is essential to coming to life. Taking a step in the right direction. Removing myself from those other things, from those other places, and from those other people. So your first essential step, and which was mine as well, was I had to get rid of the same people, the same places, and the same things that I was doing. Get rid of it. My therapist called it replacement behaviors. It's time for you now to find some replacement behaviors. Go for a walk. Write in your journal. How about you actually try that support group out that I suggested? Try something new. But see, the spiritually dead person ignores conscience. They are not going to do anything new. They are going to continue to do the same thing because it brings them physical pleasure, it satisfies them, and it brings them some type of gain, some type of benefit. Dim, the key word. So the spiritually dead person is all about me, I. What can I get out of life? What can I get out of life? What can I get from this person? That was me walking around, y'all. Like, I'm not, when I share this stuff with you, I'm sharing with you my story, my experience. I walked around like that every single day. That was my purpose. All right, what can I get today from this person or that person? How can I get drunk? How can I get high? When can I get drunk? When can I get high? And where am I going to get drunk? And where am I going to get high? All of those things. It was all about me. So, my friends, the roots, the past, the limited beliefs, the egocentric way of thinking, I had to get rid of it. Everything revolved around me. That was my type of thinking. Everything that happened in my life and in my daily life was someone else's fault. I played the blame game. I was the victim. I am the way I am because of you. Because of my mother, because of my father, because of my siblings, because of my boss, because of my job, because of my coworkers, because of my girlfriends, because of fill in the blank. That is why I am the way I am. Oh, so that's why you're spiritually dead, Kareem? Yes. That's why I'm continually doing the same thing over and over again. That's why I'm drinking. That's why I'm going to get high, because of y'all. That's the life that I live. And my friends, when I tell you that is a dead man walking, that is what that is. And that is who I was. I had to literally remove myself from that old foundation, right? Which was not solid. It was very fragile. It was rocky. It went off of his emotions. Whatever the emotions said, Kareem went with it. Oh, man, screw this. I'm mad. I'm pissed off. Oh, man, now I'm finna do this to this person. So, because I was pissed off and angry, I did this to such and such. I went and pissed off somebody else because I was pissed off. That's a spiritually dead person. If you are angry, something happened to you in your day and you go out in public and you give the people in public your anger because of something that happened to you that has nothing to do with them, you are spiritually dead. You have not taken the time to look inside. You have not taken the time to examine yourself. You have not taken the time to sit still. You have not taken the time to breathe. You have not taken the time to think about anybody or how it will affect anybody else. Oh, I'm about to go to Publix, but I'm still angry. And you burst out, have an outburst on somebody else or a clerk in the store, and your situation had nothing to do with them. That, my friends, is an emotionally led person, emotionally driven person. And that is who I was. So here's how I became different. Here are some differences. Here is where you can sit back right now and begin to examine yourself. A spiritually awakened person lives with compassion. They live with purpose, and they have inner peace, having moved beyond that ego-driven desire. Whereas the spiritually dead person, which is what I was, my friends, is often stagnant. Are you stagnant? Are you stuck? It's often selfish. Are you selfish? Maybe you don't even know that you're being selfish. And that spiritually dead person is most likely disconnected from a higher purpose, a higher power, a higher calling, and they're acting solely on material or egoistic impulses. I was very impulsive. And by the end of this conversation, I'm going to share a poem with you that describes me, describes who I was. And when I became spiritually awakened, this is what I began to see. I began to see unity. Man, I begin to see that I'm connected to every single thing on this earth. Every living organism I am connected to. Now, I know I shared that in the last conversation, but let's get a little bit deeper with that. So when I became spiritually awakened during that time of my life, I knew that I was connected to other people. That means other people of other colors, other races, other ethnicities. I realized that I was one with them. So where are you at with that? Are you spiritually dead or are you spiritually awakened? Do you still view other people as lower? Do you view yourself as better? Do you view yourself as lower? Do you view them as better? Is there an inferiority or a superiority complex going on inside of you? That left me because that is who I was. When I was spiritually dead, I only thought of myself as lower than every person on earth. And sometimes, just sometimes, a little bit, I would think of myself as the best thing walking. And I would place judgment on people. Nobody thinks like me, man. I'm the smartest, most intelligent, most wisest person on earth. Man, y'all need to listen to me. I got all the wisdom right here. Come sit down. Let me tell you something. And that also entailed when it came to the physical. My ego. Oh, man, look at how handsome, man. Every girl wants me. Man, she'll be a fool if she deny me. Man, yeah, I can get what I want. Look at me. Or, yeah, I'm smooth, you know. I can have any girl that I want. That was the way that I thought. And it wasn't just about I can have any girl that I want. I can have anything that I want. In a manner of, because I am going to go into the store and I'm just going to take it and walk out. Not in a manner of knowing that I can have anything that I want in a spiritual way, but in a way of taking things that were not mine. Catch my drift? Anyway, so when I became spiritually awakened, I began to be filled with compassion and a desire for connection. I began to want to connect with people that don't look like me, with people that don't talk like me, with people that are just different. I began to feel this deep connection to all living beings, right? I wanted to be out in nature. I wanted to go to my spot, which was a spot where I could see the ocean a little bit. I wanted to go there and just look out and look at the seagulls and notice the crabs underneath my feet. And sit there and think and be with myself and be with my higher power, the source. And connect. And I began to act from love rather than fear. It was no longer about, let me do this for this person or say that, make sure I say this so that this person can accept me because I'm scared that I won't be accepted. It was more of coming from a heart of love, beginning to be able to stand up for myself. That, my friends, is a spiritually awakened person. I begin to move away. I begin to move away from that self-centered material desires, right? To a focused life that was more on inner growth and service to others. I shared with you on the last episode, our last conversation, how it was like, I was like, man, I got this book. Let me go ahead and get it published now. And then let me go ahead and write my second book because, it's about serving others. And then who can I help, that's involved in my support group? And now, who can I help? Now, obviously, I've told you, I'm taking it bigger. My purpose has evolved. Because I keep coming to life. And that is one of the things I want to share with you. I almost forgot. One of the things I want to share with you is that once you have that first spiritual experience, that first spiritual awakening, you are going to continue to have them. You are going to continue to come to life more and more and more. Why? Because you are awakened and you have awakened your spirit to receive life. Woo, because life is the spirit. You understand what I'm saying? So the spirit gives life. And you want to give that life out. but you are constantly receiving life because you are awakened to it now. The spiritually dead person isn't awakened to life. The spiritually dead person only sees death. They only perceive death. They only get back what it is that they see. When I was spiritually dead, I saw that I was a victim, that everyone was against me. That is what I saw. That is what I got in return. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so also I begin to feel this inner peace, and I wasn't dependent anymore on that external validation. We've already talked about that. My awareness was heightened to where I began to notice and question my old beliefs and become aware of energy, my energy, and other people's energy around me. I began to question my old beliefs. I was going to church at that time, and I think that, I don't know if I mentioned this to y'all or whatnot, but I started to notice things while I was going to church. And I started to notice who was awakened and who was dead around me. Not from a judgmental lens. It's because I was waking up and I was coming to life, that I could see death. So, see, when I was spiritually dead, yes, all I saw was death, but I couldn't see it. It was masked because I was dead. It was masked. If that makes sense. I'm trying to make this make sense to you. Because I was dead, I only saw death, but it was masked. It was an illusion. There was an illusion created as if this is life, as if these things are giving me life. It was that illusion that was created, and the illusion that I believe that, man, this alcohol, man, these drugs, man, doing this or doing that brings me life. It brings me joy. It brings me happiness. And that's the illusion. I believe that a lot of us get trapped in the illusion of that while we're living. Oh, let me buy this. Let me buy that. Oh, let me do this. Let me do that. And oh, it brings me up. Oh, make sure. Let me get with this person. Oh, they make me so happy. And I think that we do things like that because we're searching for that quick, instant gratification, that instant happiness. But really, we think that it brings us life. But it's really not. It's just holding us back, and we're dying. We're dying over and over and over again. We are becoming spiritually dead because we are not receiving life from those things. Not from those people, not from those things, not from those places. We're not receiving life. They don't bring life. But somehow, some way, we tend to believe this because of the instant hit, maybe of the dopamine that we feel. I don't know. But that instant gratification, that instant happiness that we get, we mistake it for joy. When joy is deep down in your soul. The happiness is fleeting. And it's okay for you to be happy, but it's fleeting. 1 minute you're happy, the next minute you're sad. I mean, it's just a feeling. So when I became spiritually awakened, I realized that, man, I am not my emotions. I am not my thoughts. I am not attached to this. This is not my identity. I put on a new identity. My true self, my soul was coming to life. And I wanted things that satisfied my soul. I wanted things that satisfied my spirit. I no longer wanted those physical things. And that was really great. That was the great thing about it. I no longer desired those physical material things, i.e., for me, right? Alcohol, drugs, and those physical pleasures that don't last. I began to desire to know myself, to know my inner thoughts, my inner being, to know myself, to discover who I am. I desired that. And a total transformation from who I was is what took place. My friends, I was a person who was spiritually dead. I was stagnant. Man, I was so stagnant. I did not grow at all. I stayed stuck in my own routines. I stayed stuck doing the same thing over and over again. I lacked growth. I was very egocentric, as we've already talked about, right? I operated from a me consciousness, right? And I was only focused on what I could get or receive what I could gain. I was completely disconnected from everything. I had no empathy, and I felt separated from all things. I was unresponsive and apathetic. I remained unmoved by the truth, by love, or even by spiritual principles. In other words, I ignored my conscience. It was suppressed. I couldn't even hear it. I could not hear it. I was walking around so dead, I could not hear that voice telling me, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. We all have the spirit in us that is trying to keep us alive. But the more we deny it, and do what we want that gives us physical pleasure, then we will be dead. So in a nutshell, as we wrap this up, my friends, I begin to see clearly. The veil was lifted from my eyes. My eyes were opening. My eyes were opening to the fact that life is a process of growth. It's not a race. It's not a race for consumption. Oh, how many things that can I get? Oh, I'm going to eat this today because I want to eat it, not thinking about any consequences. I'm going to drink this today because I want to drink it. I had no place in my mind for consequences. I did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I realized, and I began to come to life and realize that, man, it's not a race against anybody. It's not a race against anyone. Yes, they labeled it and said human race, but yes, I'm part of a human race. I'm part of a human conglomerate. I'm part of a human species. I am not part of a race. I do not have to be better than this person. I do not have to see myself as lower than this person. I just may need to see myself as different. That is it. Unique. But I also see these people as unique and special as well. Because we all are connected. I began to be able to manage my emotions rather than being controlled by my emotions. We talked about this. I began to be thankful for the lessons in life. And one lesson I begin to be really thankful for is that time that my mom kicked me out of that house. And I drifted off into the woods. Because see, when I was spiritually dead, I resented her. I blamed her. I was the victim of that. I did nothing wrong. Why the hell did my mom kick me out? That was my mindset. But then later in life, when I became awakened, when I came to life, I know that is one of the greatest things that has happened in my life. I can look back and go, oh my gosh, thank you, Mom. And from that moment, when I realized that and I became thankful for it, I have thanked my mom every day since then. Man, thank you so much, Mom, for putting your foot down and kicking your son out. I'm thankful for the lesson because it led me. I'm thankful for the struggles because it led me into personal growth and development. It led me into the rooms of recovery. It led me into that support that I needed. And it led me into living a life now where I take the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. I am no longer a victim. That's why we've had conversations about this over and over again. And you are not a victim, my friend. may I emphasize that to you? When you are spiritually dead, you are placing yourself as a victim. Everything that happens in your life is because of someone else, and it's someone else's fault. That is a spiritually dead person. So let me ask you this. Are you spiritually dead? From what we've talked about, are you spiritually dead? Or are you spiritually awakened? And I'm hoping that through me sharing my journey with you and having these conversations, that you'll be able to be honest. You'll be able to take the time to look inside and answer those questions for yourself. That is my hopes. That is my encouragement that I want to give you, to take the time while we're even having this conversation still, answer those questions, and after the conversation, answer those questions. Ask yourself, am I being led by my emotions today? Am I just doing the same thing over there? Am I out for me? Am I just out for personal gain? Do I just walk around and just hurt people and just say things out of my mouth without even thinking about it? Do I do that? And then think about those things, and I want you to come to life. That is if you are spiritually dead. If you are spiritually awakened, which I hope you are by now for being on this journey with me, right? Like that is the hopes. That by now, we've had 57 conversations. By this conversation, you are spiritually awakened. Because you have been not only listening to me, but you have taken my experience and you have matched it with yours, and you have implemented some of the tools that I have implemented into my life, and you put them into yours. And you started doing those things to help create and cultivate and spark a catalyst and spark a spiritual awakening. My friend, I believe in you so much. I know that you are here because you want to clear the wreckage. That is why you're here. You are here because you want to grow. You want to become the best version of yourself. That is why you are here with me every single week. And we know that we are works in progress, and we know that every day we must take the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. We know that this is a process. We know that. We know that we are not one and done. And I'm grateful and thankful that you are here with me on this journey. So I'll leave you with this. And this is an example, my friends, of a spiritually dead person. And this is an example of me and who I was. I named this poem Impulsive, and you'll see why. And I told you earlier that when I was spiritually dead, I was impulsive. I was very impulsive. I just did things without even thinking about it. I didn't think about the consequence. I didn't think about any of that. I was very impulsive. Sit still. Why do you go off of what you feel? Emotions, energy, in motion. Compulsively, you're obsessive. Your heart tells you, I'm angry. So staying is not good enough. And why must you rush into something? Because you feel lust. And plus, have you even had time to discuss this with your inner being? Or with another human being? Get advice. Wise counsel can help you out. A little insight. But you might be feeling like, man, tonight is the night and I must do this. Honestly, your feelings are useless to a certain extent. Why? They come and go, ebb and flow. 1 minute you happy, the next you sad, feeling like life is bad and you must leave, run, flee from this town or situation or whatever circumstances you are facing. Feelings overtaking you. And you just can't take it. So you decide to stay in isolation. And you are the only one that is wise in their thinking, right? No one knows what you are going through. Or maybe they faking like they know you. But I tell you what's true. No one is against you. And life is what you make it. Change it. These feelings of impulse, all you have to do is sit still and hear pulse. Feel your heartbeat. It speaks to you. Sometimes the mind may be deceiving you. So chill. Be quiet. Take a pill if you require to silence your mind. Listen to your thoughts. It's a riot inside your mind. Thoughts racing. You can't turn them off. Pacing around. Lost. Hearing too many sounds so you can't learn to hear yourself talk. That first thought got you going and you're off. But you don't know what, when, where, why, how. Those are questions, and I suppose that it will be best if you learn a lesson from your last quest. May I suggest that you slow down and breathe. Stay at ease instead of dis-ease, because disease can catch you, attack you with calamity, and it could end in a tragedy. Begin to look within before you get into something you may regret. Yet, this feeling is so good like sex. You're impulsive. Move on to the next sensation, penetration. Man, when I was a kid, I ran around naked, booty flapping in the wind. As soon as my pampers were unraveled, it felt good. You're impulsive. But now with composure, as an adult, I pull my clothes up. My breeches don't hang below my waist. You're impulsive. What gives you the notion to show your drawers and your butt cheeks to my face? Oh, that struck a nerve, huh? What's the point of having nerves if you don't use them? I'm not calling you foolish, but you're impulsive because everyone is doing it, so that makes it right. Oh, and plus it feels good to punch you in your left cheek after you punch me in my right, and I would be right. That's rhetorical. But my horoscope says today I should pursue what feels good. Feeling good isn't wrong, but what makes it right? If it breeds a horrible effect on someone's life, you're impulsive. Take an explosive and blow up a building, shoot up schools and murder civilians because I got the feeling mad, angry, and I can sense that they hate me and want to hang me, so I kill and I do what I feel. You're impulsive. Right now, man, I want to get high, so let me smoke this real quick so I won't have to focus on reality. TV, not reality. Look at someone else's life and become happy and start laughing. Sadly, your problems remain. You're impulsive, is all I'm saying. Be calm and stay in the moment. And your health is at stake. You can't find peace in a race. You'll constantly be seeking first place, but the first shall be last and the last shall be first. You're impulsive, and what's worse is you think you're right. It's apparent you are in a fight with demons and you can't even see it because you are impulsive and they carry you wherever they want to. In control of your body, those demons, those ghosts take you and they float with you and you don't really know what to do. You're impulsive. You haven't had time to think this through, have you? Whoever wants to have you, they can, as long as it gives you pleasure and satisfaction. The problem is, you are never satisfied. Your eyes will soon lust. Then there's another distraction. You're impulsive, another feeling to become attached with. You're burning with fire and passion. You desire a nicer, newer attraction. But if only you knew of the disaster that's ahead. And with all that being said, you are impulsive and you are spiritually dead. Wake up and come to life. As I always leave you, take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.